Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into a new career path today.
Absolutely. It should be an interesting one.
It's one that definitely gets people talking, network marketing. We've gotten a ton of questions from you all about it,
Yeah, it's one of those fields that tends to come with some strong opinions.
to say the least. So we've dug into a mountain of RoleCatcher resources for this one. Career guides, interview prep, they even have stuff on AI and how it's changing the game.
It's incredible how much the landscape has shifted, even in just the past few years with all the tech advancements.
Totally. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics. For anyone out there who's maybe heard the term network marketing, but isn't entirely sure what it entails, what's the quick and dirty definition?
Well, at its core, it's a business model where independent representatives sell products or services directly to consumers. But it's not just about individual sales, it's about building a network of distributors who do the same.
So that's where the network part comes in.
Precisely. And that's often where the misconceptions arise. People hear network marketing and their minds jump straight to...
Pyramid schemes.
Exactly. And while there are certainly unethical operations out there that give legitimate network marketing a bad name, it's important to distinguish between the two.
We'll definitely unpack that whole pyramid scheme concern in a bit,
Huh.
because RoleCatcher actually had some really interesting insights on that. But first, I'm curious about something.
Go on.
When I think about network marketing, I picture someone who's super outgoing, a natural salesperson, maybe even a little bit that intense. But RoleCatcher highlighted something surprising. They said 59% of the core skills in network marketing aren't about being salesy at all. It's about problem solving, critical thinking, even active listening.
It's true. It's much more about understanding your customers' needs, identifying a problem they have, and then offering a solution.
So it's less about pushing a product and more about providing a service.
Exactly. It's about building relationships, becoming a trusted advisor, and helping people find solutions that genuinely improve their lives. That takes empathy and a genuine desire to help others.
So you're saying it's not just about having a charismatic personality and a killer sales pitch.
Charisma certainly doesn't hurt, but it's not the be-all and end-all. You need business acumen, strategic thinking, the ability to analyze market trends.
Wait, hold on. Market analysis. Systems analysis. RoleCatcher mentioned those too. Those sound like skills you'd need in like corporate marketing, not necessarily when you're building your own network.
And that's another misconception. Successful network marketers are essentially running their own businesses. They need to understand their target audience, analyze their competition, and constantly evaluate their strategies.
So give us an example. What does systems analysis look like in the world of network marketing?
Okay, so let's say you're a network marketer for a health and wellness company. You've been using social media to reach potential customers, but you're not seeing the results you hoped for. Systems analysis would involve taking a step back and saying, okay, what's working and what's not?
Right, like reviewing your whole approach.
Exactly. You'd look at which platforms you're using, the type of content you're sharing, who you're targeting, and then analyze the data to see what's resonating. Maybe you need to tweak your messaging, try a different platform, or refine your target audience.
It's like being your own marketing consultant.
Precisely. You're constantly gathering data, analyzing results, and adapting your approach based on what you learn.
So it's much more strategic and analytical than people might realize. It's not just about handing out flyers or hosting home parties.
Not at all. It's a dynamic business that requires a diverse skill set. And that's something that RoleCatcher really emphasized throughout their resources.
Okay, so we've established that there's more to network marketing than meets the eye. But I'm still curious about the network part. What does it actually mean to build a network in this context? Is it all about leveraging your personal contacts, or is there more to it?
Well, it's definitely not just about selling to your friends and family, though those relationships can be a starting point. Building a network in network marketing is about cultivating genuine, mutually beneficial relationships. Think about attending industry events, connecting with potential customers online, even building relationships with other professionals in your field.
So it's about building a community around your product or service and positioning yourself as a valuable resource within that community.
You got it. It's about providing value, sharing your expertise, and becoming a go-to person in your niche. And that's where the strategic thinking comes in. You need to identify the right people to connect with, understand their needs, and nurture those relationships over time.
It sounds like relationship building is key in this world. But those relationships aren't just happening organically, are they? There's a level of strategy and intentionality involved.
Absolutely. And that's where those analytical skills come into play again. You need to be able to identify your target market, understand their pain points, and tailor your approach accordingly. Remember those terms RoleCatcher used: systems analysis and systems evaluation.
Yeah, they seemed a little out of place at first. Like, who knew network marketing was so technical?
Right. But it makes sense when you think about it. You're constantly evaluating your strategies, looking for ways to optimize your approach, and ensuring your efforts are aligned with your goals.
It's like being the CEO of your own little marketing empire.
Exactly. You're in the driver's seat. You're responsible for your own success. And that can be both exhilarating and, let's be honest, a little daunting.
So it's a lot more involved than some people might initially think. But that begs the question, what does the career trajectory of a network marketer actually look like?
That's a great question, because it as a career path, not just a side hustle like some people think. And RoleCatcher actually breaks it down into these different phases, showing how things kind of evolve as you level up.
Oh, interesting. So like starting out versus, say, reaching the top 1%, what changes along the way?
Everything. Early on, it's definitely about building that customer base, right? Honing your sales skills, getting comfortable talking about the product.
Finding your feet, learning the ropes.
Exactly. But then as you progress, it starts to become more about leadership, building, and managing a team.
So you're not just selling anymore. You're mentoring others to do the same.
You've got it. And that requires a whole other skill set. We're talking training, coaching, even things like conflict resolution, stuff you might not think about right away.
Yeah, it's like that saying, it takes a village, but for entrepreneurs. You're building a network, sure, but also building a team, building each other up.
I like that analogy. And then, of course, as you reach those higher levels, think about what it takes to manage a large team, set long-term strategies.
Budgeting probably comes into play.
Absolutely. You're basically running a company at that point. So all those analytical skills we talked about earlier, those are non-negotiable for that kind of sustained success.
So you really have to be firing on all cylinders. Speaking of which, RoleCatcher had this whole section on specialisms. Is that about different types of network marketing companies?
Kind of. It's more about finding your niche within this world. Health and wellness, beauty products, sustainable living, you name it. Chances are there's an opportunity out there that aligns with what you're passionate about.
So you don't have to be that person trying to sell something they don't even care about.
Exactly. And that passion shines through, making you more authentic, more successful.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, this is Emmy, I'm organized, I love connecting with people. They're ready to give this whole network marketing thing a shot. What are the first steps?
Well, RoleCatcher is pretty clear on this one. Joining a network marketing company, IS, the first step.
Sounds obvious when you say it like that.
But there's a catch, of course. It's not just about joining the first company that sounds interesting. You really have to do your research.
Right. Not all opportunities are created equal.
Right.
So what separates the good from the not so good?
A few key things. Number one, find a company with a product or service you genuinely believe in. That passion is contagious. And of course, a compensation plan that makes sense is transparent.
No one wants to get stuck in one of those shady setups. Like,
Yeah.
that's where those pyramid scheme alarms start going off.
For sure. Which is why RoleCatcher actually provides this checklist of questions to ask potential companies, potential sponsors.
Oh, right, sponsors. We haven't even talked about them yet, but it seems like having the right mentor is huge EE in this line of work.
Oh, 100%. A good sponsor is like your guide, your cheerleader, your sounding board. They provide training, support, and really help you navigate those early challenges.
So how do you find that perfect match? Because I imagine there are good sponsors and not so good ones out there.
Definitely. And it goes back to that research aspect. When you're talking to potential sponsors, see if they're genuinely invested in your success, not just trying to sign you up as fast as possible.
Good to know. Okay, so you've joined a company, you found an awesome sponsor, you're building your network, but then comes the moment of truth, the interview. And RoleCatcher did not hold back on the interview tips.
They weren't messing around, were they? Some of the sample questions were intense.
Right. Which makes sense, I guess. If you're serious about building a business, they want to make sure you're in it for the right reasons. But for anyone listening who might be feeling a little intimidated by those interviews, what's the key to, like, staying calm and collected?
Honestly, I think it comes down to preparation.
Makes sense.
Like, really take some time to think about your why. Why network marketing? Why this company? Why on W?
Yeah, because if you can't articulate that to yourself, how are you going to get someone else on board, right?
Exactly. And it goes beyond just the why, too. Think about your strengths, your weaknesses, especially when it comes to this whole world of sales and networking.
Oh, so you're not caught off guard if they ask about, Like, how do you handle rejection?
Which, by the way, RoleCatcher had that one on their list, and I thought it was so telling.
Oh, for sure. Because rejection is just part of the game, right?
In any field, but especially this one, you're putting yourself out there, building those relationships from scratch. Not everyone's going to be receptive.
So how do you answer that question in a way that shows you're cut out for this?
To me, it's about honesty and self-awareness. Don't try to pretend you're some robot who's never been fazed by a no.
Right, because nobody's buying that.
Exactly. Instead, talk about how you learn from those experiences, how you use them to improve your approach. Resilience is key why in network marketing.
No doubt about it. RoleCatcher also had that great question about what inspires someone to pursue this path. What's your take on that one?
It's all about passion. If you don't genuinely believe in what you're doing, it's going to show. And I think interviewers can spot that a mile away.
Yeah, that authenticity is huge, GE.
Yeah.
Especially when you're building those personal connections. Speaking of which, for anyone listening who might still be feeling a little unsure about this whole thing, maybe even a bit intimidated, what's your final piece of advice?
I'd say remember that network marketing, at its core, is about connection. It's about sharing something you believe in, being of service to others.
It's not about being pushy or salesy.
Not at all. It's about those genuine relationships you build, the value you provide. If you approach it with that mindset, with authenticity and a willingness to learn, you might just surprise yourself.
Love that. So, as always, it's about finding the right fit, doing your research, and being ready to put in the work.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's been awesome taking this deep dive into the world of network marketing. Thanks for coming along with us. And remember, whether you're a natural networker or just starting to explore this path, keep asking those questions, keep learning, keep growing. Until next time, everyone.